1. Conventional strawberries. We start with the worst offender, the crown jewel of British summer, strawberries. If you are buying non-organic strawberries from standard UK supermarkets, whether it's the budget line at Aldi or the Taste the Difference at Sainsbury's, you are essentially feeding your family a dose of PFAS. In 2024, the Pesticide Action Network UK released a bombshell report. They found that 95% of strawberry samples tested contained residues of PFAS pesticides. PFAS, or PER, and polyfluoroalkyl substances are known as forever chemicals. Why? Because they do not break down, not in the environment, and not in your body. When you eat these strawberries, those chemicals enter your bloodstream and stay there, accumulating year after year. They have been linked to immune system suppression, liver damage, and developmental issues in children. But it gets worse. It's not just one chemical. Strawberries are soft, ground-growing fruits, which makes them a magnet for pests and mold. To combat this, industrial farmers spray them repeatedly. We aren't talking about a light dusting. We are talking about a chemical bath. The government testing data found samples containing multiple different pesticides on a single fruit. This creates what toxicologists call the cocktail effect. Regulators set safety limits for individual chemicals. They say this amount of chemical A is safe and this amount of chemical B is safe. But they never test what happens when you mix chemical A, B, C, and D together in a child's stomach. That science doesn't exist yet. You and your family are the test subjects. Washing them? Forget it. Strawberries are like sponges. Their porous skin absorbs these systemic pesticides deep into the flesh. No amount of scrubbing under the tap will remove a chemical that has grown inside the fruit. If you have conventional strawberries in your fridge right now, you aren't looking at a healthy snack. You're looking at a chemical cocktail that lasts forever. 2. Imported grapes. Next on the list, grapes. Specifically, the imported seedless varieties you see year-round in plastic clamshells at Asda and Morrison's. Grapes are fragile. They have to travel thousands of miles from places like Chile, Peru, or South Africa to reach a UK shelf without rotting. How do they survive a 3-week journey on a ship and still look crunchy and green? Fungicides. The 2023 and 2024 government testing results for imported grapes were appalling. Some samples were found to contain residues of over 10 different pesticides in a single batch. 10. Just think about that. You are eating a single grape, and you are ingesting traces of 10 different industrial poisons designed to kill living organisms. One of the most common chemicals found is iprodione, a fungicide classified as a probable human carcinogen. It's banned for use in the EU, but thanks to loopholes in import regulations, it can still show up on fruit grown outside the UK and sold in British supermarkets. And let's talk about the skin. You eat the whole grape. Unlike a banana or an orange, where you peel away the outer layer, with a grape, the pesticide barrier is your dinner. The waxy bloom you see on the surface, that's not always natural wax. It's often a mix of dust, pesticide residue, and sprayed-on preservatives designed to prevent botrytis rot during shipping. When you give these to your kids as a healthy lunchbox filler, you are giving them one of the most chemically treated crops on the planet. The high sugar content of grapes already spikes insulin. Adding a neurotoxic pesticide load on top of that makes them a nutritional disaster. 3. Citrus fruits. Lemons, limes, and oranges. This one is going to hurt the bakers and the tea drinkers. You buy a nice bag of lemons from Tesco. You wash them. You slice them into your water. Or maybe you zest the peel into a cake. You think you're safe because you washed the skin. You are wrong. Almost all conventional citrus fruits sold in the UK, lemons, oranges, limes, grapefruits, are treated post-harvest with a chemical called Imazalil. Imazalil is a fungicide, but unlike farm sprays that happen in the field, this is applied after picking. The fruit is dipped or sprayed with Imazalil wax to prevent mold while it sits in cold storage warehouses for months. Here is the scary part. Imazalil is a known carcinogen and a hormone disruptor. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in the US has classified it as likely to be carcinogenic to humans. And here is the kicker. It is systemic and heat stable. When you zest that lemon peel into your muffin batter and bake it, the heat doesn't kill the chemical, it bakes it right into your food. When you drop a slice of lemon into your hot tea, the heat helps leach the Imazalil out of the peel and directly into your drink. Washing? Studies have shown that washing citrus with soap and water removes less than 40% of the Imazalil. Why? Because it's mixed into a synthetic wax that is designed to be water resistant. The only way to avoid this is to never ever eat the peel of a non-organic citrus fruit. But even then, cross-contamination when you slice through the skin with a knife drags those chemicals onto the flesh you eat. If you are buying standard, unwaxed lemons, be careful. Unwaxed doesn't always mean pesticide-free. It just means they didn't add extra cosmetic wax. The fungicides can still be there. Check the label. If it doesn't say organic, assume it's coated in Imazalil. 4. Pears. The conference deception. The humble conference pear. It seems so British, so safe. It's a staple in school cafeterias and elderly care homes. But according to Pan-UK data, pears are consistently one of the worst offenders for multiple pesticide residues. In recent testing, nearly 88% of pear samples contained pesticide residues. That is a higher failure rate than apples, higher than bananas, higher than almost anything else in the produce aisle. The problem with pears is the harvest timing. They are picked hard and unripe, then stored in low-oxygen environments for up to a year. To keep them from rotting during this long slumber, they are drenched in fungicides like Captan and Boscalid. Captan is structurally similar to thalidomide, a chemical infamous for causing birth defects, though Captan itself is considered a suspected carcinogen. The EU has tightened regulations, but residue limits still allow for significant amounts to remain on the skin. Because pear skin is thinner and more porous than apple skin, peeling them is difficult without losing half the fruit. Most people eat the skin, and just like with strawberries, you are eating a year's worth of chemical preservation efforts in a few bites. 5. Pre-cut fruit and melon slices. This isn't about pesticides, this is about bacterial roulette. We've all seen them at M&S, Pret, and Tesco Express. The convenient little plastic pots of sliced melon, pineapple, or apple. They cost 4 times as much as whole fruit, but you pay for the convenience. Here is what you are actually paying for: pathogen exposure and plastic migration. When a fruit is whole, its skin is a natural barrier against bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. The moment that fruit is sliced in a factory, that barrier is gone. The sugary flesh is exposed to the air, the machinery, and the workers. In 2024, food safety recalls regarding pre-cut fruit have skyrocketed globally. Melon, in particular, is a nightmare. Melon skin grows on the ground, dirt, manure, contact. Even if the factory washes the melon, the knife blade drags bacteria from the outside skin through to the inner flesh during cutting. Once inside, the sugar in the melon acts as a perfect food source for bacteria to multiply, even at refrigerator temperatures. But wait, there's the packaging. These fruits sit in plastic containers for days. The acids in fruit, especially pineapple and citrus, interact with the plastic polymers. We talked about BPA-free not being safe in our vegetable video. The same applies here. You are marinating your healthy fruit in a soup of microplastics and plasticizers. And nutritionally, it's dead. Vitamin C oxidizes rapidly when exposed to air. A slice of apple that was cut 3 days ago and kept white with an antioxidant dip has virtually zero vitamin C left. You are eating expensive, bacteria-prone sugar water. 6. Non-organic apples. An apple a day. effectively exposes you to diphenylamine, DPA, and 1-methylcyclopropene, 1-MCP. Apples in UK supermarkets are zombies. They look fresh, but they might have been picked 10 to 12 months ago. How? They are stored in massive, cold, low-oxygen warehouses. To stop them from ripening and rotting, they are gassed with 1-MCP. 1-MCP blocks the apple's natural ethylene receptors. It literally tells the apple's biology to pause time. While this keeps the apple crunchy, studies suggest it halts the development of antioxidants and flavor compounds. You are eating a shell of a fruit. But to prevent storage scald, browning of the skin during this year-long nap, they are treated with DPA. The European Union restricted DPA heavily due to concerns about it breaking down into nitrosamines, which are carcinogenic. However, imports and older stockpiles can still carry risks, and alternative chemical coatings have simply taken its place. That wax on the apple, it's not natural. Natural apple wax is washed off during cleaning, so they spray on a layer of shellac or carnauba wax mixed with fungicides to make it shine again. Scrape a knife against a supermarket apple. That white sludge that comes off, that's what you're eating. 7. Imported blueberries. Blueberries are a superfood, right? Only if they haven't been fumigated. During the UK winter, blueberries come from Peru, Chile, or Morocco. To enter the country and ensure no invasive insects hitch a ride, these shipments are often fumigated at the borders. The most common fumigant is methyl bromide, a gas so toxic it depletes the ozone layer and is banned for most uses, except, conveniently, for quarantine and pre-shipment. While the gas evaporates, it alters the chemical composition of the fruit's surface. Furthermore, blueberries are another thin-skin fruit. You can't peel them. You can't scrub them. Whatever happened to them in a field in Peru, whatever lax pesticide regulations were applied there, ends up in your bowl. Government data frequently finds cocktails of residues on imported berries that wouldn't be legal to spray on British crops, yet it's legal to sell them to you. The safe list, what you should actually buy. So, is the solution to stop eating fruit? Absolutely not. Your body needs these nutrients, but you need to outsmart the system. Here are the 5 specific fruit options available in the UK that are actually safe, nutritious, and free from this toxic baggage. Safe. Pick 1. Organic avocados. If you can only afford to buy one thing organic, make it the thin-skinned fruits. For avocados, you can actually save your money and buy conventional if you have to, but organic is still better for the planet. Why are avocados safe? The armor. The thick, leather-like skin of an avocado is almost impenetrable to pesticides. Even if the farm sprays chemicals, they rarely penetrate through to the green flesh inside. The Environmental Working Group, EWG, consistently lists avocados as the shown cleanest fruit. Less than 2% of samples show any detectable pesticides. However, in the UK, I still recommend buying organic avocados if possible, not for the pesticide residue, but for the sustainability. Conventional avocado farming is water-intensive and cartel-run in some regions. But strictly from a poison-in-your-body standpoint, a standard avocado from Tesco is infinitely safer than a standard strawberry. It delivers healthy fats, fiber, and potassium without the side order of carcinogens. Safe pick 2. Frozen organic berries. You want the antioxidants of berries without the pesticide cocktail? The secret is in the freezer aisle. Fresh organic strawberries are expensive, sometimes £4 or £5 for a tiny punnet. But frozen organic berries found at Sainsbury's, Waitrose, or sometimes Aldi, Lidl special buys are the ultimate hack. Here is why. Price. They are significantly cheaper per kilo than fresh organic. Nutrition. They are flash frozen within hours of picking. Remember the zombie apples? Frozen berries retain more vitamins than fresh berries that have spent a week on a truck. Safety. Because they are certified organic, they cannot use the nasty systemic pesticides or PFAS. Look for the Soil Association or EU Organic Leaf logo on the bag. This is the smartest way to put superfoods in your morning smoothie without poisoning your thyroid. Safe pick 3, Riverford or Able and Coal box schemes. If you want to opt out of the supermarket deception entirely, you need to go to the source. UK box schemes like Riverford Organic or Able and Coal operate on a completely different philosophy. They don't wax their fruit. They don't use air freight. Riverford notoriously refuses to fly fruit in. They don't use 1 MCP gas storage. When you get an apple from Riverford, it might be smaller. It might have a spot on it. It might look a bit dull. That is what real food looks like. Their internal standards are stricter than EU organic regulations. They test for pesticides themselves. Yes, it is a subscription. Yes, it costs a bit more than Aldi, but you are paying for the absence of poison. You are paying for a supply chain that has nothing to hide. If you value your health, this is the best investment you can make. Safe pick 4, kiwis. Similar to avocados, the kiwi is a survivor. Whether you buy the gold or green variety, the skin of a kiwi provides a robust barrier against chemical sprays. While I always advocate for organic, conventional kiwis consistently rank in the Clean 15 lists with very low residue levels compared to apples or grapes. But here is the pro tip. Buy Zespri Gold or organic varieties if you can. They are high in vitamin C, more than oranges. And because you discard the skin, usually, you are discarding the vast majority of surface contaminants. It is a safe, high-nutrient powerhouse that hasn't been dipped in wax. Safe pick 5, UK seasonal heritage apples. If you must eat apples, stop buying the shiny pink ladies and Granny Smiths from overseas. Look for British heritage varieties in season, August to October. Varieties like Discovery, Russet or Worcester Pearmain. You typically find these in farm shops or the best of British seasonal sections in Waitrose, M and S. Why? These apples are sold quickly after harvest. They haven't been sleeping in a gas chamber for 12 months. They haven't been shipped from New Zealand. Russet apples, in particular, have a naturally rough, matte skin that doesn't require waxing. They are ugly, rough, and absolutely delicious. And because they are sold locally and seasonally, the post-harvest chemical load is a fraction of the industrial imports.